InsideThunder.com. Powered by Wheeler Whitlock Insurance.
Hi, I'm Randy Renner at Chesapeake Energy Arena. Boy, what a nice win for the Oklahoma City Thunder on Sunday night, beating the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavs had a 6-game winning streak coming into this game on Sunday night. Thunder win it 117-114. Still had some defensive lapses at times during the game, but they made some key stops coming down the stretch. A couple of big block shots. Russell Westbrook had a huge night for the Thunder with 31 points and 11 assists. Oklahoma City had 6 players in double figures, so they really shared the ball nicely and ended up also with 25 assists on the night. So Billy Donovan was pleased with a lot of that. After the game, Billy talked to reporters, and we also heard from Enes Kanter, Dion and Russell Westbrook.
I thought, obviously Dallas had been playing very, very well, and coming off our last game against the Knicks, I thought we kind of build upon our resiliency and our toughness there, because I thought we had really good toughness when we got down by 16, and I thought for the most part, outside the start of the second half, I thought we played with really, really good energy and intensity. I think we're moving closer and closer to, at least from an offensive standpoint, really moving the basketball. I thought we were really balanced in scoring tonight. We had a lot of guys in double figures. I thought the ball got from one side of the floor to the other, and I thought in particular our front court guys did a great job of finding people. And then I thought we got really good contributions off the bench from Amo and from Nick. Obviously we need to continue to get better defensively. I think that we can become that team, but we need more consistency. I thought every time we got a lead, it was due to our defense. We got stops and got out on the break, and every time they dug into our lead, it was them scoring consecutive baskets. So I think, again, a game that we can build off of going into tomorrow night.
Coach, can you just talk about the offense, though, those last few possessions? You had Russell pretty much running it from the point in, passing it or taking a shot, whatever was open for him. Just what were you calling in the huddle, and what did you see out there? Well,
one of the things that we were just trying to do was trying to create some movement, and we had an alignment in there that we were kind of going off one pick and roll and bringing them back in another, and we were really kind of putting Amo and we were putting Dion behind screening action, which made it difficult. And he found Dion for a 3 one time, and then he found Serge rolling to the basket. I thought we had good movement. I thought Russell made a lot of really, really good decisions with the ball. Obviously had 7 turnovers, but I think when the ball's in your hands that much and you're trying to make plays and find people, that's a positive. But I think he can cut those things down as he gets more and more comfortable, with some of the stuff that's probably new to him. But I thought we did a good job of really sharing the basketball, and I think from an offensive perspective, 27 assists, 7 guys, 6 guys in double figures. I mean, that's I thought was pretty balanced for us.
You mentioned defense kind of being the barometer throughout the game, specifically the last few possessions. I mean, did you like what you saw, the intensity, and obviously Serge was a big part of that late? He
really was, and the one thing that gives you great flexibility with Serge is they got us. I think we were up by 3, and they came out of a timeout, and they ran a slip screen on right in front of our bench, and Serge was jumping out to show on it, and Villanueva knocked down a 3. I think that tied the game on that shot. And then I think inside the last 3 minutes, just when Nowitzki came back in, figured they would try to do some of those things to try to spring him for some shots or spring him into some open areas just to play from there. So, Russell did a great job switching, and you feel comfortable when Serge switches on Darren Williams, or he can switch on a guard. But really the last 2 or 3 minutes on the perimeter, we just switched all that screening action and wanted to try to take away the 3-point line and make him put the ball on the floor. And then Serge, I thought, had a big block with 8 seconds left on a drive. But Serge gave us the flexibility to do that.
Nick Gallo, KCThunder.com. You kind of just answered my question, but the switching along the perimeter, another example of that was Dion's steal and run out. How big of a play was that from a momentum standpoint? Just
well, it's hard a lot of times, when you're coming out of timeouts like that, you don't know what the other team's going to run. And I think at that time we ended up switching some things, and Dion ended up coming up with the ball. I thought Russell made a couple of unbelievable defensive plays, and you have to switch with two people. And Serge is really good at guarding guards, but I don't know if Russell gets enough credit for the fact with his size, strength, and athleticism that regardless of who it is, he's going to physically battle. So he got switched on Nowitzki a couple times, and he did a great job of making it difficult for him to catch it, and Serge did a really good job of keeping people in front of him.
You talked about last game, Dion, having what you thought was his best defensive game of the season. I mean, after this game, would you have to amend that statement? Do you think that this would kind of replace the next game?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a game for Dion where he lost a couple guys for some threes. But the biggest thing with Dion is, just seeing his effort and his energy out there. I think in the Knick game, with the way they were running offense, he had to play a lot of one-on-one defense in around the basket on a follow. He guarded Carmelo in a lot of ISO situations at the elbows in the short corner area. This was a different game because he was being run off a lot more screens. A couple times he got sucked in trying to help, on drives, and they threw it back out to his man. But I think that that's something he'll get better at and improve on. But I think in terms of one-on-one defense, he's very, very good at that. This was a game where he was having to play defense from help back out to the perimeter, and that was probably a little bit more challenging. And they're a good offensive team. Obviously they've been a good offensive team for a long time.
With Dion, is it not so much about the starting, but with the closing games with Dion on the floor? Is that somebody that you feel like you can trust and put out there?
Well, I feel comfortable. Andre, I think continues to improve and expand his three-point shooting from where he was a year or two ago, and he's gotten better. But I just felt like coming down the stretch of that game with Russell, him having to make some plays, is to try to put some shooting around him where there's some space out there for him, where if they are going to try to help or trap him, there's someone to throw the ball to that can make a shot and is a real good, consistent shooter. But I feel comfortable with Dion. He played down the stretch of the San Antonio game. The one thing about Dion is he's a competitor and he wants to win. And he's one of those kind of guys that, regardless of how the game is going for him, in 4 or 5 minutes, he can immediately forget about the past and really stay focused on what's in front of him.
Yeah, Billy, you talk about being a work in progress, but the truth of the matter is a whole lot of teams that were highly thought of are works in progress this early in the season. Have some of the guys around the league, some of you guys on your staff that have been around the league a long time, talked about the novelty of so many elite or what we thought were elite teams not really dominating or playing to where we thought they would?
Are you asking me if I've talked to the staff about that?
Yeah, or if they said anything about it to you?
No, I really, I don't, Barry. I kind of just focus on where I think we need to get better. I totally understand. You're looking at the result of what happens. You either won or you lost. I still feel that we got a lot of improvement to do, and we got a lot of growth to make together. Coaching staff, players, everybody collectively together has got a lot of growth in the process. I see growth in so many different areas. Like, I really felt like tonight, for whatever it's been, 14 games, I thought this was the most complete game we had offensively. If someone said to me, of all the games you played, this was probably the closest I thought offensively to an identity that I'd like to see us play with. The ball was moving, it was going from one side of the floor to the other. Guys made really good decisions. Hopefully we can build on it. That doesn't mean that every possession was perfect. There was still a lot of poor possessions there. There's times I see us really, really good defensively, how we want to play, and there's some other times where we're not. And I think just that consistency level, collectively, possession by possession, game by game, getting better and improving in those areas. And I see these guys really trying. I see them working. I thought we really didn't come out great against the Pelicans with our energy. And I thought we came back against New York and got down 16, and I thought our guys showed great resiliency and resolve to give themselves a chance at the end. Then have one day in between and come right back, and I thought we had really, really good energy from the start, and I thought we were really locked in and ready to play from the start.
You talk about this best offensive game. In the games you played without Durant, is this your best overall game?
Well, I look at a few things when I look at a stat sheet. The first thing I look at on any stat sheet is assists. That's the first thing I look at. And I understand that in order to have a lot of assists, the ball's got to go into basket. So against New York, for us, the ball didn't go into basket very much. It wasn't going to be a lot of assists. So it's a little bit of a misleading stat, so to speak. And then I look at our shooting percentages, and our shooting percentages are good from the field and from the three-point line. But I always, and then I look at the other thing I look at is how many guys are really in double figures, because you don't want to get to a point where you're just one-dimensional. You got to have some other guys that know where their shots are going to come from. And certainly with a Russell and a Kevin and those guys and the way they've proven scoring-wise, there's going to be teams that are going to load up on those guys, and they've got to have some outlets and some passes, and I think both of them are willing passers. And the same thing with our other guys. I thought we drove the ball to the basket. We got up a little bit too high, I thought, tonight on fouling them too much. We had too many fouls, but that was them putting pressure at the basket. But I really was pleased offensively the way we shared and moved the ball.
Your bench rotation tonight was a little different than we've seen. A lot of Morrow, a little Singler, Payne at times. Was that dictated by the game, what they were doing?
Well, going into the game, we knew that they were going to play three-point guards at some times, and when they went with Barea and Felton and Williams at times, we felt like we could give out Cameron an opportunity to go out there and play a little bit, and it was probably a better matchup for Cameron than maybe it was Kyle in that game. So they kind of do that. They'll go with some different lineups and play different people at different times, and we probably matched them a little bit in the backcourt, maybe more so than we did in a previous game against the Pelicans where we didn't decide to match with their front court, but we thought it'd be a game where Cameron could get some minutes and get in there and play, maybe help us.
Enes, they made a run to start the third quarter, but you guys seemed to make a response there towards the end of the third quarter. What was the key during that stretch?
I think the key was defense, and I think we did a really good job on the second half defensively. And I think the most important thing, we shared the ball really well, and we were just connected, and we just wanted to just go out there and just give everything we had. And I think we did have really good success.
You just mentioned sharing the ball. You guys had 6 different players in double figures tonight. What does that do to opposing defenses when you have that many guys who are threats to score?
Oh, it kills it. You know what I mean? Because we were out there, we just sharing the ball, and just everybody was, touching the ball, and we're just, I think we were really connected out there. I think that was the most important thing, and we're just really communicating on defense. So that was the most important thing for us.
What about your game, mindset-wise, is so good in second chance points?
It's got my rebounds. Just, like I say every time, I just want to give confidence to my teammates. Whenever they shoot the ball, I just want them to know that there's somebody down there, not just me, Steven, all the other bigs, Mitch and Nick and Serge. We just want to give them the confidence that whenever they shoot the ball, shoot with confidence, because they have some big bodies down there and just fighting for a rebound. So, yes.
Dion mentioned you guys having to come out with a defensive mindset, especially to start the third quarter. How do you guys go about doing that?
That's all we did talk about during practice. Just defense, and I think we did a really good job tonight.
You guys have kind of struggled a couple of games. Do you think this kind of will push you guys over the top, beating the Mavs at 1-6 straight coming in?
I hope so. Well, I cannot see the future, but I hope so.
Dion, that steal and run out seemed to be a turning point in the game. Can you take me through that play when you and Russ switched it on the wing?
We knew a switch was coming, and what I did, I just tried to be aggressive. If it just blow the play up, but I was able to blow it up and get my hand on the ball, and just make it a big play for us.
How much did the bench, and particularly Nick Collison, help provide some of that tonight?
Great, man. Nick came in, did a good job of being a great leader, being consistent, doing things that they do on a night-in and night-out basis.
He told me after the game you guys needed this win. What does a win like this help as far as rhythm or confidence?
It's good for us, man. I think last couple of days we've been trying to figure out our identity and how we want to play, and I think the last 2 games we didn't play the right type of basketball.
Serge's ability to switch and guard a guy like Darren Williams and kind of stick with him, how does that benefit your ability to do different things on defense, especially?
It definitely helps us out when we're able to switch 1 through 5, 1 through 4. I think it gives us an advantage where we can guard other guys, and we can rebound in basketball as guards, and helps us spark our breaks.
One of those switches was you and Dion's on the wing when he got that steal and run out. Seemed to be a momentum changer. What did you see on that play? What did Dion do well?
Just reading. I screamed out, switched to him early before he can be able to hop in the pass lane. Did a good job of reading it and got the steal.
You got yourself a post up on Barea. You got matched up against Pachoy and got to your spot. Were those things that you manufactured, or did they switch those during the course of the second?
Something that I see throughout games. Dallas do a lot of different things defensively, switching, showing, blitzing. And in the fourth quarter, I just try to find ways where I can get to my spot and be most comfortable.
Thunder, after this game on Sunday night, heading to the plane to fly to Salt Lake City. They'll be in Utah for a game against the Jazz on Monday night, so the second night of a back-to-back. Always tough in Utah because of the elevation change and because the Jazz have a pretty darn good team this year too. So Thunder and Utah coming up on Monday night. That's it from the Peak. We'll keep you updated, so keep it here on InsideThunder.com.